All eyes are on the US election 2020, which has reached a crucial stage as it is the final day for Americans to cast their votes. 95 million people have already voted, and the two candidates, that is US President Donald Trump and his Democratic challenger Joe Biden, are already crisscrossing the nation to make the final pitch to voters before the country chooses its president. US President Donald Trump is holding 5 election rallies across 4 key states: North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan and Wisconsin. During a rally in Pennsylvania, Trump yet again cast doubts on the mail-in ballot system in America. Election officials in the state are allowed to count ballots that are received 3 days after the election night. Pennsylvania's top court ordered an extension until November the 6th, and they have ruled that ballots can be counted even if it does not have a clear postmark, as long as there is no proof that the ballot was mailed after the polls closed. The U.S. Supreme Court refused to block this decision. However, Donald Trump is having a hard time trusting the process.
No, they said, how is he going to do in Pennsylvania? He's going to win Pennsylvania except for the cheating. We figure we have to leave 5% for the cheating that takes care. Can you believe it? For the cheating that takes place in Pennsylvania. And the guy meant it, a very great pollster, but he predicted we'd win the whole election. But the question was, what about Pennsylvania? He said, well, you have to leave 5% for the cheating. And when the Supreme Court gave you an extension, they made a very dangerous situation.
Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence made a joint appearance at a crowded rally in Michigan. Listen in.
I'm fighting to survive. You have to survive. Very few people would have survived. They would have been in the corner. They would have said, Mommy, Mommy, put their finger in the mouth, put their thumb in the mouth and say, Mommy, Mommy, take me home. I'm out of here. Get me the hell out of here, Mom. You're going to be watching some very good television tomorrow night. Very good television.
Twitter has flagged Trump's tweet in which he called the Supreme Court's decision on voting in Pennsylvania dangerous. Twitter added a disclaimer to the tweet saying that it might be misleading. And on the other side, presidential nominee Joe Biden is urging black voters in Pittsburgh to help him win the most important state, Pennsylvania. Biden spoke about his plans to promote black economic mobility and acknowledged the disproportionate effect of COVID-19 on the community. He also made a poll pitch to a group of union members.
Pittsburgh, honk if you think his commitment of having done more for the African American community than Abraham Lincoln is true. Honk your horn. Silence. You got it, man. Pittsburgh, honk if you think it's a bunch of malarkey. He's lying. We're a laughingstock around the world right now. The only thing that can tear America apart is America itself. And that's exactly what Donald Trump has been doing from the beginning of this campaign. He knows the only way he can win is divide America.
Interestingly, famous American singer and songwriter Lady Gaga endorsed Joe Biden and condemned Donald Trump during a rally in Pittsburgh.
Every ounce of us, now is your chance. Vote like your life depends on it, or vote like your children's lives depend on it. Because they do. And to all the women and all the men with daughters and sisters and mothers, everybody, no matter how you identify, now is your chance to vote against Donald Trump, a man who believes his fame gives him the right to grab one of your daughters or sisters or mothers or wives by any part of their bodies. Vote for Joe. He's a good person. Thank you.
Now, for more insights about polling trends ahead of Election Day, WION's correspondent Rachel Silverman is joining us from California. Welcome, Rachel, and thanks for joining us on this broadcast. Tell us a little bit about the voting patterns and predictions in California. We are hearing that the voting turnout has already broken records.
Indeed, it has. Turnout has broken records in many states across the country. In California, we have a long history of mail-in ballots and ballots early voting. This year, some 100 million Americans have already voted early. This is an Election Day Eve unlike any other, with the record early turnout, with people preparing for possible unrest and violence, and with the president signaling he'll reject the results if he's not declared the winner.
Right.
But it's looking now more and more like this election, we will have a higher turnout than ever before. Predictions are 150 million people will vote in this election.
Right, absolutely. Now let's talk about the last round of campaigning being done by the two candidates. What are political pundits predicting about the outcomes? And the bigger question is, as you just said, will Donald Trump leave the White House peacefully should he lose?
Well, as you said, the campaigns are staging a blitz. They're not wasting a minute of the final hours. There are just a few minutes left for this election eve. Donald Trump visited 5 states yesterday and 4 today. Biden focused on the battleground states of Ohio and Pennsylvania today. The polls show Biden ahead, but it's very difficult to say. The polls were wrong in 2016. And it's very difficult to know whether the popular vote will translate to the 270 electoral votes that the winning candidate will need to become the president of the United States.
Right. Rachel, I'd like to shift focus a little bit in my final question. So as we know, a spate of brutal terror attacks have gripped Europe, and what started in France has now spread to other countries like Austria as well. So much so that terror groups like the Al-Qaeda are spewing hate and urging people to kill anyone who insults the Prophet Muhammad. So my question to you is that such terror attacks have been known to impact elections across the world. So do you think these global terror attacks will have any impact on the US election, or is American politics insulated from these acts of terrorism taking place in another part of the world?
Well, I don't think the American people or American politics are insulated by important events taking place anywhere else in the world. I do think, however, that of the utmost focus here is getting people out to vote and getting them out to vote safely, and what happens in the rest of the world will probably take a back seat tomorrow to the possibilities of domestic terrorism here in the United States tomorrow. Cities and counties and states are all preparing for the possibility of unrest. Should people dislike the results of the elections, or should things become so chaotic and so messy as we wait for the countdown to find out who will be the next president of the United States?
Right. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast, and thank you for all your insights. We at WION will be tracking the results closely.